Hey guys, Jason, IronTrap Garage here, bringing you another episode on my 32 truck project. If you guys were watching in the last episode, I was making sub rails, and I ran into a bit of a stalling point because the B-pillar area on this truck is rotted out just from the years. Being a BB, it helped, being higher up off the ground, but still, almost 90 years later, the nature does its wonders, if you'll say. So with that being said, I was on a little bit of a hiatus from for last month or so. It's just been way too cold up in New Jersey to work, or at least for me. I guess I'm a girl, but when it's in the single digits at night and in the 20s in the daytime, it's just not, there isn't the motivation to go work on this thing. So I was going to start doing the steering, which I did for about a day or so, and then I ran into some snags with that, and which caused me to realize I got to get back on this to get the B-pillar situation solved, get the rusty metal cut out, get the what's good on there cleaned up so it's solid, and see exactly what I got to do as far as remaking the material there so I can get this structurally sound, get this back on the sub rails, get everything in place so I can get this bracing out of here, so I can get going on the steering and the pedals and keep marching forward because springtime is going to be around the corner soon, and I'm not as far as I want to be. So with that being said, let's get to it. Okay guys, welcome to Cramped Corners, because garage is, like I said, only so big. But if you guys can see here, this whole bottom piece is rotted out, which again is common just due to the age and down here. But the problem that I do have is here is rotted out, and this is where the structure of the B-pillar comes down. So it's pointless for me to even try and get this on there. I need something solid that will allow me to, like I said, weld and do bracing. So like I said, from here down, it's gonna go ahead and get cut off and start from scratch. Alright guys, here is my inner structure patch panel made. See if I can zoom in. Tipped it on the bead roller, but I wanted to show you guys, or at least tell you, that while I made this, it doesn't fit. I think what happened is because I didn't have a brake, I ended up going and out and buying a 30-inch bending brake, tabletop mount, and what was happening was I tipped it in the wheel, which was fine, and I think what happened is it changed a little bit, and when I went to actually hammer it over, because I didn't have a brake, I was trying to think of anything, and I actually ended up making a makeshift T-dolly out of some box tubing that I had, which helped, but obviously it didn't work. And what was happening is the panel, while it goes over, it's not super tight to the structure, and I just know when I cut the old piece out that it's not going to work. So I wanted to show you guys this and at least tell you, because not everything's done on the first try. This is probably going to take me like 2 or 3 tries, quite honestly. And one of the things I wanted to say was, why I think it messed up, or why I think I messed up, is I should say, because when I was thinking about this originally, I was thinking, well, where do I start? And I probably should start on one side and work my way over. And I think what that happened is it locked me in to where I didn't have flexibility to change things around a little bit. And you know, while these pieces aren't, it lines up, but like I said, it's not super tight, and it's not a good enough patch panel for me. So I think what's going to happen is the second time making this is I'm going to start with the tipping wheel in the center here where it actually curves out, and get that established, get that spot on, and then I'll work myself out on both ends, because that's just a simple bending into the brake, which I didn't have before. So hopefully with the brake and doing the modifications that I see people do to make them work really good, hopefully second time go around I'll get this knocked out and this will look nice, and I'll be able to cut the old one out and get this welded in. But I wanted to show you guys that, you know, it's going to take 1 or 2 or 3 tries to get this to work. So let's try it again. And here we have a patch panel made for the driver's side inner B-pillar on the truck cab. And if you guys notice, it's a little bit different. The original piece itself had an oval there and, well, used to be there. Who else knows what's at the bottom? On this one that I made, I left it solid, and that is because I figure any little strength would go a long way with this. And actually, if you notice as well, it is a little bit wider back there. The B-pillar tapers down right where I cut that. So when this goes in place, it's going to be flush, come straight down. And being that this isn't a concourse restoration, because that went out the window when I bought it, I got a little freedom to do what I want to do. Got this already clecoed in place, used a little hammer and dolly action just to make everything lined up really crisp, and go ahead and get this welded in now. Okay guys, I had to improvise a little bit and change up what I was doing. Just want to show you guys real quick. This is the old piece that was cut out. Obviously you can see that. And if you look here, this piece itself was acting as a bracing to down here. And it was a tight fit in here, but acted as support for everything for the sub rails to tie into. And over here, I had made this out of 1/8 inch material that I had, and I actually made it a little bit stronger and boxed it in here because I was thinking rigidity and for strength. And taking a look now, I want to actually take it a little bit further, and I actually went ahead and got 1 inch by 1.5 1/8 inch thick box tubing, and I had notched it right there. And the reason I had notched it was so it can fit into here, and I can have my rubber bump stop. So this is going to sit in here like so. So I want to make sure that this is extra strong. Just taking precaution with this, just get some heavy duty box tubing. So this is going to get spot welded into place, and then the body can go back on finally. Ready? 1, 2.
Alright, we're up against some drag snake.
Alright, so let's just, ready? So that's as far as we can go.
Yep, like that at least.
Alright. Alright, ready? Ready to go again?
Yeah.
Alright, let's let it down. If you can. Alright, so
You gotta go to me, bit.
yeah. And we got. Alright guys, so last clip you saw was very fortunate that Jason was able to come over and help me put this body back on the frame here. You can't do it by yourself as much as you want to. So with that being said, body's back on, and now the next task for me is to go ahead and make brackets to attach to the subfloor itself. So trying to measure off the old ones, they're roughly like 1/8 inch. So luckily enough, I have 1/8 inch plate steel, quite a bit of it, and hopefully enough actually. And going to make a simple L bracket. I went ahead and bought some dimple dies to also strengthen the bracket itself and provide a little more strength to it. Hopefully it's enough. With that being said, like I said, basic L bracket, and get that knocked out and get that set up so it can get spot welded in place and go off of, sorry about that, go off of the attached to the existing bracket here itself. So I'm going to utilize that, clean it up and whatnot. And then the rear, I kind of have something in mind. I'm just going to wing it. So let's get going. Alright guys, so I was really hoping that in the last clip you saw me cutting the box tubing out, that was going to be it, and I was going to end the video right now. And however, it ran into another problem when I was cutting the bracing loose. When I cut the bracing loose, nothing actually like dramatically changed or like loud popping or banging in that aspect, but cutting the bracing loose, I ran into this again. Now this is what I had a problem with beforehand of when I was originally bracing this body. When I got this truck itself, the doors were off itself. Driver's side a little bit worse. Both doors need repair. It's 90 years old, so it's gonna need it. But this drove me nuts. So I spoke to Matt and talked to him about it because I was, he's gonna obviously know what's going on more than I would. And I kept thinking that my problem is that these doors, they gotta go up. Now, as you can see, the body itself, we're flexing it. We're making it do what it doesn't want to do. And that's something I've been trying to learn, that everything needs to sit right. We can't put forced pressure onto it. It's like welding a panel that in place that shouldn't, it's not good. So I kept thinking doors got to go up. And Matt suggested, well, hey, maybe the back of the cab has to come down. And that's a problem. So the problem, like I said, when I got the truck, the gas tank and seat was covering the back of the sub rails, and you couldn't see what kind of shape they were. Although you could see on the back, the body was sitting on the bead, the bead line on the quarter panel, or not the quarter panel, sorry, the back of the cab. So anyways, what I ended up doing, sorry for the camera angle. So what I ended up doing is, you can see this door is pretty damn good. Ain't perfect, but it's really close. And so what I ended up having to do was I had to cut my bracing that I rosette welded onto the B-pillar, with that box tubing that I put in place. And I ended up started trimming the cab itself, as you guys can see here. I mean, obviously this is where I channeled it, but then I started having to notch it, and you can see a gap. If you can't, there is a gap, so the body's not under pressure or tension there. So the only good, that's the good news, is that I was able to figure out the problem with talking with Matt about it. So now I have to go ahead and then cut out those rosette welds on this side, and then trim the cab, and hopefully get this thing to sit. And then I can call it quits on this project for now. Finally, guys, I have been able to get the doors and body aligned. It took a lot longer than I was thinking. Obviously, I wasn't thinking of a half hour, but this took a few hours, and but I got this. So let's see. Let's close the door here. No more gap. Boom. Other side is almost as good. It's not quite the same. Actually, we'll walk over just to show you guys. A little bit low. Again, the door on that side, on the driver's side, is in really bad shape. So it does, when you open the door, you can actually manipulate it a little bit. So I'm okay with that, because that's just as far as repairing the doors, which both doors need, obviously. I mentioned that before. So Again, did the B-pillars on both sides. Looks a lot cleaner now without the bracing. Now, as far as the brackets go, they're both 1/8 inch, but this is 1/8 inch, dimple dyed for strength, and I have it rosette welded to the existing brace, which is also 1/8 inch. And then, you know, back here itself is also 1/8 inch plate, dimple dyed, to add some strength. That was the simplest bracket that I could come up with. I could always make it stronger and gusset it to you know, help out if it needs it. So yeah, that's pretty much all that I have for this video today. Probably the next one will be something a little simpler. It sounds stupid, but just try and knock out a simple like day project. Feel a little bit more rewarding than this. So with that being said, guys, take care and see you next time.